Hello there, gentlefolk and warlickers, and welcome to my Hunders Batteryman deck profile, post Duelist Alliance. As many of you will probably know, Batteryman got amazing support in the form of 9-volt, which is basically the ultimate searcher for the deck, and it's made pure Batteryman decks so much more viable, but it also makes the rank 4, i.e. the Thunder family version, that bit more amazing also. So I'm about to profile this deck for you guys. Without any further ado, I'll show you what I run. So to begin with, we have 2 Thunder Seahorse. If you don't know what this does, it's pretty darn good. Basically, you discard it from your hand to add 2 level 4 light thunder type monsters with 1600 or less attack from your deck to your hand, and you cannot special summon the turn you use that effect. So yeah, it will instantly get you to pretty much every other card in your deck, monster wise. You can't special summon the turn you do it, so you want to have that sort of grindy, sort of trap heavy sort of deck rather than your plain aggressive, like mindlessly aggressive version. But yeah, it's just a +1 and it's really good, so I run it at 2. I mean, I think 3 is a bit much because you usually only need its effect once or twice at a push anyway, so but it's a really good card. And then to search off of it, we have Mahunder and Pahunder, 3 of each, and they both have the same effect, but Mahunder has slightly better stats. But essentially, once per turn you can normal summon 1 level 4 light thunder type monster from your hand except themselves as an additional normal summon. But obviously you can pick each other, so if you have more than 1 of each in your hand, you can normal summon 1, normal summon the other, then normal summon the other, etc, etc, and get some really explosive plays. So much as you'd expect from a sort of thunder themed deck, it kind of charges up with Thunder Seahorse, gathers resources, and then explodes, as many of you I'm sure are aware. However, the deck gets a massive boost in Duelist Alliance thanks to 9-volt, because this card reads as: when this card is summoned, you can add 1 Batteryman monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, this card's attack and defense becomes double its original attack and defense. You can only use that effect once per turn, and during the end phase, destroy this card. So basically, when it's summoned with Mahunder or Pahunder, or just any way, but that is a good way to summon it, you get an instant search off of this, and you can search for itself or another Batteryman monster you run, and then you can still make your rank 4 play after getting that search. So there's so much draw power in this deck, what with the Thunder Seahorse and this card and a bunch of others too. But even if you don't have anything to summon this with besides itself, it becomes 2000 until the end of the turn. So it's a beat stick by itself, and when it's destroyed at the end phase, that isn't always a bad thing, just because we run Supply Squad and it would trigger that effect also. So it's brilliant at 3 because it just keeps that advantage going. Even if you don't draw into Seahorse, you can still replenish what you use with this at the very least. So 3 is a must. We then run, to go with that, 3 Batteryman AAA, which reads: when this card is normal summoned or flip face up, you can special summon 1 Batteryman AAA from your hand or graveyard. So it's if you open with one of these, it's quite nice to search out another one with 9-volt if you get the chance, because as soon as one of these are in your graveyard, the other 2 will make instant rank 4s for you, because obviously this can grab one from your graveyard when it's normal summon. It's just getting that set up, which can take a while, but it's, given this is a rank 4 deck, it is your best Batteryman target for 9-volt. so why not run it at 3? And then finally, for our one-offs, we have Industrial Strength and Honest. And Industrial Strength is more viable because 9 volt, and essentially you banish 2 Batteryman monsters from your graveyard to special summon this, and then you can banish another Thunder type monster from your graveyard to destroy 1 monster and 1 spell card on the field. So 2 pops for a bit of banishing, and it's not hard to fill your graveyard. I mean, to put this into perspective for you, if you normal summon 9 volt, grab another 9 volt with your search, and then rinse and repeat, that's 2 Batteryman by itself in your graveyard. So this is very rarely dead, and it's a very powerful effect. So it gives this deck, I feel, a much needed aggressive push at times, because with the turns where you might need to build card advantage otherwise, or you can't special summon because of that, the times you can special summon have a lot more impact when you can summon cards like this. And then finally, Honest. Some people probably don't like this as much in this deck, but it's still a light deck, and it's saved me so many times. I could not run this deck without Honest. So that's all of the monsters, just 16. But you get to them quite easily, so I feel 16 is fine. The spells, we have 3 Pot of Duality. I think I quite like 2 Thunder Seahorse, because with 3 Duality you almost always search into it at some point early game, I find anyway. It's not the end of the world if you don't, but it's Pot of Duality plus Thunder Seahorse is a great combo because they both have the same no special summoning restriction, so they cancel each other out and you get both effects without the penalty on multiple rounds. But otherwise it's just great for getting to what you need, of course. We then have 2 supply squads. Just that whenever a monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you draw a card. I think because the monster count isn't massive, running 3 is a bit risky. You don't necessarily want to top deck it in a bad situation, but most of the time it will just generate pluses, and it's a really powerful card, especially in these sort of slower decks that can afford to take their time. I mean, there's plenty of pluses in this deck already, so this just adds even more. We then have 2 Lance. Just being able to be unaffected by spells and traps when your plays go off are really nice. Plus, if your opponent isn't running much back row, having that 800 attack switch does at least give it a second use that MST wouldn't have against that kind of deck. And so we're running 2 MST. So again, to get around spells and traps that might shut you down, but more so, and Lance is better against those offensive traps that outright try to bottomless you or compulsory, etc. So I feel 2 of each is fine. We then have 2 recycling batteries. Our salvage of the deck is a +1. You do banish with industrial strength, so I feel 3 could be cloggy, but I think 2 is a good number, personally. Then for our one-offs, we have Soul Charge, Dark Hole, Book of Moon. Soul Charge, really nice backup play. You have lots of draw power, but even if that fails, you can dig out of your grave in a bad place. Then we have Dark Hole and Book Moon, just good generic cards. Then we have, so that's 16 monsters, 14 spells, and now we have 10 traps. So 2 Fiendish. While we're trying to set up our play, stopping attacks and effects, really effective, so I say 2. And 2 Breakthroughs. Effect negation that can be used more than once. Comes in handy more often than you think. Just remember not to forget about it in your graveyard, because I do that all too often, which kind of ruins the point of the card, but still. We then have the Trinity of Torrential, Bottomless, Compulsory, and I still don't have Solemn Warning, so I apologise. But we're using Dimension Slice because it is a really good card. So these three are just your standard removal. This one you probably don't see as much, but whenever a monster is special summoned to your side of the field, you can target one face of monster your opponent controls and banish that target. If it was an Exceed summon, you can activate this during the turn it was set. So if you're about to Exceed summon, this is equivalent to a spell card, and you instantly get to banish whatever's in your way. So it's a really good card, and I've ordered my Solemn Warning actually, but when I get it, I'm tempted to keep this and drop something else instead, because it is actually a really good card. So, and then finally we have a Deep Prison, because banishing is powerful. The fact that it's a battle trap does hinder it, so 1. And then Wiretap, if Lance isn't around, Wiretap is a great way to prevent traps. So yeah, that is the deck profile. The main deck, we do of course have the extra deck. So yeah, we have 2 Starlight Paladynamo. I love this card because it's essentially a budget 101. I mean, the Megatins are about to come out, so it looks like 101 will be a bit more budget anyway, but even so, for light decks, this is just, it gets rid of pretty much any monster 101 could get around, but instead of having that one-time defense against destruction, you get to draw a card when it's destroyed instead. So, which I find to be better in most situations. So this is your instant go-to remove the threat card. Reduces your opponent's attack to 0 and negates its effects. So it will usually do 2,000 damage to whatever it attacks, and then that extra draw when it dies is just the cherry on top. And then have, for the other light exclusive rank 4s, we have Omega and Tsukuyomi. So Omega I really like because it makes it so that it becomes oblivious to spells and traps during your turn at any point. And I prefer this usually to like Kane Gorgon, because it will work with any card that, any spell or trap, not just ones that target. So this has saved me so many times, and I really love this card. So yeah, it's just really good against back row heavy decks. And then Bujinti Tsukuyomi is basically, I say basically a lot, I should stop saying that. Yeah, basically I think I'll stop saying that. Anyway, you can detach 1 Exceed material from this card, send your entire hand to the graveyard, minimum 1, and if you do, draw 2 cards. The rest of the effect doesn't matter for us, but that in itself is great, because if you're low on resources or if you've got a lot of traps, you just set them. I mean, this is a good turn 1 play. If you've got, say, just what you need monster wise to make this, and the rest is spells and traps, you make this, set 3 or 4 depending on if you went first or second, and then you discard 1 card in your hand that's good in the graveyard, like Batteryman AAA or I don't know, any monster. If you've got recycling batteries, it's not even that bad, and then you draw 2, so +1, and you can do it if it survives on your opponent's next turn, you can do it again on your next turn. So brilliant way to keep your hand advantage. We then have Castile, the new card from Duelist Alliance. Just shuffle any face that wants to back into the deck. Far too versatile, far too good. Maystroke, Abyss Dweller, Kane Gorgon, Black Ship, Heartland Draco, Cowboy, Ragnar Zero. I love trolling when I use Forbidden Lance, and then this card's effect. Rhapsody and Berserk, Utopia, and Masquerade. Very useful. Only rank 3 material. Rank 4 in this deck. Utopia I quite like because I don't special summon every turn. If it does stay on the field, it is nice to be able to negate attacks if you have smaller minion. I mean, obviously it's one of the weaker ones, so be as you will, you would probably swap it out for 101 or something, but with the 2 Starliege and the Castile, I think the aggressive side is covered well enough. Anyway, so yeah, that's my Thunder Batteryman hybrid deck profile. If you liked it, thumbs up would be great. Subscription, likes, comments, all appreciated. Or suggestions if you think there's a way I could improve it. I've been testing this against some of my friends recently, and it seems to be working well. I find that I have pretty good follow-up play, so if you don't have this deck, I do recommend it, especially if you like rank 4 decks, because I think a lot of people just build rank 4 decks because they know there's such a massive rank 4 toolbox. So obviously, as far as decks revolving around rank 4s go, I'd say this is one of my favourites. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will be bringing you more in the near future. So yeah, thank you for watching. Peace out.